AI can create new ideas, can even write a new Bible. Throughout history, religions dreamt about having a book written by a superhuman intelligence, by a non-human entity. Every religion claims our book, all the other books of the other religions, humans wrote them. But our book, no. It came from some superhuman intelligence. In a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. Just think about a religion whose holy book is written by an AI. That could be a reality in a few years. Well, we are now almost like gods in terms of our powers of creation and destruction. We now have the power to create new life forms, but also to destroy much of life on Earth, including ourselves. We are facing two really big challenges. On the one hand, the threat of ecological collapse. On the other hand, the threat of technological disruption. We are creating extremely powerful tools like AI that could undermine human civilization. And maybe the worst thing is that instead of uniting in order to face these common challenges to our species, we are dividing, we are fighting each other more and more. There are rising tensions on the international level. There are rising tensions within societies. One society after the other is really on the brink of collapse. AI is fundamentally different from every previous information technology. It can make decisions, it can create content by itself. We were never faced by this kind of technology. And so we have no idea what the outcome would be in 10 or 20 years in terms of education or of anything else. AI is gaining mastery of language at a level that surpasses the average human ability. And by gaining mastery of language, AI is seizing the master key, unlocking the doors of all our institutions, from banks to temples. Because language is the tool that we use to give instructions to our bank and also to inspire heavenly visions in our minds.
A worldwide cyber attack hit several U.S. government agencies, and a Russian criminal cyber group is being blamed for it.
Now, senior officials are racing to limit the impact. CBS News' Jared Hill is live in New York for us. So, Jared, what do we know about this attack and how the Biden administration is responding to it?
Yeah, so Keith and Betty, this is something that officials have been watching since at least last month, when they say this extortion gang got access to a file sharing app that a lot of businesses and government agencies use. And as you mentioned, the Biden administration is watching and trying to make sure that the fallout goes not too far. Take a look.
U.S. officials say a Russia-linked ransomware group called CLOP is responsible for a global cyber attack that has struck multiple U.S. agencies and NATO allies.
This ransomware group compromised a vulnerability in a widely used software.
That software is called MoveIt. Experts say it's a convenient way for governments and businesses to move large files. The cyber attack has affected the U.S. Department of Energy, multiple Johns Hopkins affiliated hospitals, the University System of Georgia, the Minnesota Department of Education, and British Airways. U.S. officials say the ransomware group has already started to release data to extort companies.
The adversaries have a chance to get 2 bites from the same apple, meaning first they can put ransomware on your computer and say, you can never use your data again unless you pay us money. Then after you pay, they come back again and say, meanwhile, I have a copy of your data and I will release it unless you pay me again.
Former Defense Intelligence official Bob Gourley says cyber criminals can release embarrassing information from medical records or even personal banking data that can then open those affected up to further fraud. CBS News has confirmed that the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency is providing support to agencies targeted in this attack.
All right, so while this group is believed to be from Russia, government officials here in the U.S. are telling reporters that there's no evidence the hackers are coordinating with the Russian government itself. Also, Keith and Ben.
Pandemic-era masks making a rapid comeback. And while New York City got the worst of it, more than 100 million people across 16 states were forced to endure smoky conditions. Washington, D.C.'s famous monuments shrouded. Residents in Philadelphia choked in smoke. In fact, on Wednesday, more people in the U.S. were impacted by wildfire smoke than on any other day in recorded history. The cause? Hundreds of wildfires raging across the border in Canada. Strong winds in the upper atmosphere taking all that smoke and pushing it down across the eastern half of the United States.
These major population centers, which themselves are potentially hundreds or even thousands of miles from where these fires are actually burning, are very much at risk of public health emergencies from these extreme smoke pollution episodes.
Canada's Prime Minister saying our warming planet is to blame.
Year after year, with climate change, we're seeing more and more intense wildfires, and in places where they don't normally happen.
While the Canada fires can't be definitively linked to climate change, the United Nations warned in a report last year that higher temperatures would lead to an increased risk of more fires that would be more intense. Americans living on the West Coast have been dealing with smoky air for years. Researchers saying man-made climate change accounts for at least 2/3 of the increase in wildfires there. No matter the cause,
I'm definitely congested here, and my throat is a little, I'm kind of losing my voice.
The health risks are clear.
In the short term, probably no significant long-term consequences, but over and over again, that kind of exposure can certainly lead to a little bit of lung damage, even to an individual who doesn't have any underlying problems.
This week's hazy skies, a stark reminder when it comes to the environment, Mother Nature knows no borders.
This may be the first time we've experienced something like this on this magnitude. Let's be clear, it is not the last. Climate change is accelerating these conditions, and we must continue to draw down emissions, improve air quality, and build resiliency.
And Angie joins me now live. Angie, good morning. You've covered wildfires around the world, seeing firsthand how they become stronger and longer. So are these smoky days something we should get used to?
Good morning, Willie. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the fires in Canada will be put out anytime soon. In fact, officials expect this to be the worst Canadian wildfire season on record. So it'll likely continue to be a smoky summer overall here in the United States, at least whenever there are winds out of the north that push that smoke south from Canada across the border.